Okay, it's the 2nd of May, about noon. I'm sorry, the 3rd of May. This is a radish. This is actually one of the smaller ones. I planted a lot of these things really way too close together, so I thought, well, let's pull one out and just see how it's doing. Okay, that's obviously not huge. That was planted about 3 weeks ago. These are by far the biggest thing in the garden right now. And I was just curious. A few days ago already, I started picking the tops off some of the little onions. They look like grass, but they totally taste like green onions. I'm like, cool, you know. And I was just like, okay, I gotta see, you know. Because last year I had huge, I mean, like basketball-sized greens on the top of the potatoes, and I had just nothing for potatoes. So I'm like, you know, before I go wasting hundreds of gallons of water between now and the next rainstorm, I got to know if it's working, you know, or is it just nothing? But look at how deep that root is. That is, I don't know, science. Got to measure it, right? There we go. So including the radish itself, that's 4.5 inches, right? 4 inches of root. That's pretty impressive for, I think. I don't know. So, yeah, I'm going to wash that off and eat it, just because. Also, all of the greens I'm going to save and put them into compost, so. Oh yeah, that's totally a radish. That's awesome. I don't know if you're supposed to eat the root or not, but tastes good to me. Ah! As a kid growing up, we had the farm, and my mom always planted a big garden, and honestly I didn't appreciate most of it because, you know, when you're a kid, weeding the garden does not sound like something you really want to spend a lot of time with. One of those things where, you know, when you're supposed to be learning how to do something, you didn't really want to do it, so you didn't spend any time learning. Yeah. I haven't picked any of the carrots yet, but I have picked little pieces of onion, and one pulled the whole thing out, so I just ate the whole thing. I'm like, alright. And yeah, it's like, the thing looks like a blade of grass, and yeah, it totally tasted like an onion. I'm like, that's kind of cool. I don't know. How does the same dirt make two different kinds of plants? It just blows your mind. A lot of the things I planted way too close together. Okay, so the thinking is you plant a bunch, something's going to take off, and if you get too many things taking off, they'll probably get too crowded together, and then they compete, and then nothing really works. So I'm thinking I'm going to just start keeping an eye on that. If something looks like it's too close together, I'll just pick the smallest one and pull it out, and then the ones next to it, you know, thinning. That's what you're supposed to do. Because why would you plant something 2 feet apart if it doesn't grow? Right. The weird thing, strawberries, nothing. Let's see, strawberries. Oh, back up a second. So the 13th of April, and today's the 3rd of May. 13th of April, the radishes first sprouted. That was the first sprouts I saw. And they are far ahead of everything else. I mean, just softball size where everything else is little sprigs still. It's crazy. They're just taking off. I don't know. I'm like, did I really do something different on one garden? You know, because I got grow beds. Yeah, by the 14th, I had many sprouts of lettuce, and they're barely doing anything. So I actually went through with a little rake tool, a hand rake, I guess, or something, and loosened up all the soil. And then I thought about it, and I did that to all of the soil because the clay soil that's here, I mixed it with the garden soil. And the one on the lettuce, it seemed like a lot of the clay was too close to the top. The other ones, I had more of the store-bought, you know, it's mostly wood chips with fertilizer, but they call it garden soil. So the lettuce one, I ended up with a lot of clay on top, and the lettuce sprouted right away and then stopped. They didn't die, but these little tiny leaves were just a whole row of little green, and then they just stopped growing. So I'm like, well, maybe they're growing roots, but they just stagnated, you know, but they weren't dying. So I went around with a little fork or the hand rake or whatever, and I kind of gently broke the soil all around them, and now they're getting better. So we'll see. Potatoes, nothing. And potatoes they just took off like crazy last year. And that was not with the store-bought soil. So I don't know. That's kind of weird. Yeah, strawberries were a couple days after everything else. And so strawberries and potatoes, I'm getting nothing. And you start to question it. It's like, okay, how much water do I want to keep putting on this part that's not growing? You know, maybe it's just suddenly going to go whoosh, you know. I can still taste the radish though. That's awesome. I do not expect that I will have enough out of that garden to survive on by any stretch. But this year is the year for experimenting. Going forward, in fact, I'm probably going to be able to do a second crop this year because, you know, we've got so long before it gets cold again. I may decide not to grow anything over the heat of the summer, and then when it starts to cool off, try again. Okay, it's the 16th of May. The package called them giant radishes. All right. So I laid all these sticks in here just to kind of shade a little bit. And I've already pulled probably 5 or 6 radishes out. So wow. I could just see the tops a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I think I might pull these. Holy cow. I should have thinned these. I planted these ones too close together. So what I was doing before is I would pick one and let the other ones grow. So many are in here. Yeah, those are too close. I'll pull that one. That's kind of a little one. I'll let the other one grow a little bit and see what it does. Okay, I'll leave that one too. Alright, this one's pretty big. I'm going to leave the one next to it. I'm going to kind of push the dirt back because they're coming out of the dirt. I was walking by and I could see the red. It's like, yeah, look at this guy. It's bigger than a golf ball. That's crazy. These have only been in here about 5 weeks. The onions are looking like tall grass. I haven't picked, maybe I picked one by accident. I was trying to break the tops off because you can kind of pick them and the bottoms will keep growing. Alright, so I'll take those 5 in. So with that said, I'm going to give a kind of a walk around since we got the date. On this side, cucumbers are in the middle. That's the only thing that's really growing. It was supposed to be peppers and tomatoes. Neither one of those really took off. I see something here, but that's probably a weed. So I've never really said I got anything else growing in here. I thought I had a sprout, but I don't think I do. Over here, every one of the 8 potatoes has started. I just saw the last one a couple days ago. So these 2 are the first ones. They're huge. And then I got 1 or 2 leaves down there, and about, you know, this many leaves there. There's 2 different sprouts coming here, and there's something there, and this one's going pretty good. So that's cool. Lettuce, for some reason, this side really is doing good, and not so much in. So I got 3 rows on these. These actually taste pretty good. I've been picking leaves every now and then. Carrots are the ones you can see easy, and then there's a line of onions in here. So I got 1 line of onions here, 2 lines of onions here, and then the radishes on the back. So back here was supposed to be the strawberries. They never went. So I was kind of thinking about it, and I was taking some advice from a YouTube channel I saw. Jesse and Amanda, Pure Living for Life. Pure Living for Life. She's a pretty serious gardener. Although I don't think she's done it very long. She just took it seriously, I guess would be the way to say that. Anyway, they didn't have very good luck last year. They had early frost, killed a bunch of stuff. Their watering system wasn't doing very good, but they're doing a lot of inside seeding and then transplanting outside because they're up in Idaho, I think it is. anyway, what she was saying is she's this year she's a lot more aggressive about if something isn't taking off, rip it out and try again. You know, sometimes they just won't germinate for whatever reason. You know, I guess there's some science and some art to it. So, with that said, I did what this used to be all strawberries, and that was really the one, that was the one I was the most excited about. That's the one that did nothing. Yeah, no sprouts at all on the strawberries. I think one sprouted, and that was a weed. So I thought, okay, the radishes are doing really well. So I've got these up to about there's radishes, the first 2 feet or so. And they're all taking off again. Lettuce on the second patch, and then we go, there's carrots, onions, and strawberries again. Now, if the other strawberries ever take off, we'll have a bunch of strawberries in here. And there's a possibility they may go next year. I've seen people talk about that. So I'm like, all right, whatever. So I just kind of broke the soil up a little bit and then replanted. So something will come if something does, you know. So we already got the lettuce starting and the radishes starting. So okay, 9:23 on the 25th of May. I've got the first cucumber bloom, which I don't remember even what they were supposed to look like. It's kind of like, oh wait, yeah, we need to have them bloom and then it'll create the fruit, or whatever you call it. One little bloom, but if that's where they bloom, it's kind of like down close to the crutch or whatever. So there's gonna be one there, 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 there. So they're all starting. I see almost a bloom on the second plant. Looks like it's getting close. So that's kind of cool. Kind of keep an eye on it anyway. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is going to be a pepper or what that is. It's way behind, but nothing else really started over here. And I never really got anything on the tomatoes. I thought I had a sprout, and then either it died or it wasn't a sprout, or whatever. Onions, the tops are almost wilting, so I don't know how big they're supposed to get or whatever. I might go a few more days and then pick some of them. These are looking a little stronger. You get like multiple branches off of one stem kind of thing. Carrots are getting pretty good looking. This is the best the lettuce has looked. Half a line there, nothing. Half a line there, nothing. Yeah, I don't know. But they're getting there, so I might pick a little bit of this once in a while to eat, so it doesn't go to waste. Yeah. It's like all of the potatoes are the same size except for these two that are just gonzo. No rhyme or reason there at all. I don't know, all planted the same day. Doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Yeah, that's... And then on the other side, those radishes are getting pretty big on one end. The lettuce is the second. Then some carrots, they're going, and I'm seeing some onions over there. And I haven't seen anything on strawberries again, so I'm just gonna not worry about that. I haven't been watering them at all. There we go. So I got some onions, some radishes from the new crop already, and then the rest is lettuce. And the lettuce, I just dug it out. So what I'm thinking here, these are the littlest of the lettuce on the original batch. This was kind of a hard one. I think it was as much as anything. I guess that shows up better than I thought. The bed that the lettuce was in had a lot of clay up on top, and once it got watered, that just kind of smothered everything out. So on that bed, when I'm done with the lettuce, I'll try to rework it and get more of the peat moss and other stuff up on top. And I think I'll start dumping coffee grounds on there and let that sit for next year. So something like that. Anyway, so I'm going to wash that out. But yeah, the radishes, not very big, but that's the new batch. But they're coming. So I'm like, all right, we'll eat that. I think I'll just eat this whole thing for lunch. Yeah. We'll eat it and enjoy it so it doesn't go bad. Because saving it doesn't seem to work too good here. Well, I don't know how this scores on presentation scale. I don't really care. My first actual sit-down salad, I guess. Usually I just eat what I see when I'm out there, but I got a little bit of radish in there. Some of the lettuce, some of the little onions. Getting a little bit of a bulb on them. They totally taste like onions. These are really good. And since I hadn't thought about salad anytime recently, I don't have any salad dressing, so it's mustard and ketchup. Also, I think ketchup is probably a main ingredient around here now. So, yeah. Cheers. So, I guess you're still at that awkward stage, right? Since I don't like, well, I'm getting better, but I'm not cooking in, like that mode. So, on that scale, I could cook spices. My onions, my whatever, right? Onions and radishes, pretty much, at that stage. Now, the carrots, maybe the next time I think I'm going to do a salad, I'll just pull a few of the carrots and chop them up. All right. Just because, And if I look at the carrots and try to thin them, then the ones next to them should have a little more room. That should be good. Really, I guess what I could say, though, is the garden soil works pretty well. Let's get some mustard on it. Let's see how that turns out. Oh, that's totally good. I mean, seriously, what's the difference between ketchup and mustard and Thousand Islands and, yeah. So then whatever I grow in the garden is just for an amusement. Now, it has been fun. It's been a good experience. I think I would miss going out there every day to water, and it's just kind of fun seeing stuff come up. And then if you get some enjoyment from it and you get to eat it, that should be okay, right? It's a weird feeling, I guess. It's like you put all the energy into the garden and you almost don't want to eat it, right? And it's not enough to be it's not like survival food, but it's kind of like a little supplement. It's kind of like, it's a little treat, I guess, once in a while. Still seems wrong. Ketchup is wonderful. I think it's a fun project. So that's how maybe I should look at it. If I can control my water usage to the point where I've got enough water, that's really the only hiccup. And if I have something fresh every third day, that's probably good for me. So, yeah, something like that. Yeah, minimal materials, get an experience out of it. That clip is done. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you so much for following the adventure. I sometimes add information into the video description below, so be sure to check that out if you're curious. Like everyone always says, please do subscribe and click that notify bell so you know when I uploaded another video. If you know someone who might also enjoy these videos, it would be awesome if you could share it with them. Thanks in advance. And if you learned something useful, you might also consider helping to support my efforts. Options include Patreon, where you can make a small donation every month, or PayPal, where you could have a one-time donation. Or you could even send me gear from places like Amazon. Information and links are in the description and also on my Contact Me page. It's all the little bits that add up that really do make a difference out here, so thank you very much in advance, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.